friends, it's Valerie. Welcome back to another week's What's for Dinner. If you're new here, welcome. I'd love if you join my YouTube family. I put out What's for Dinner videos every week, and I really hope that you enjoy these 3 inspirational meals that I have for you. So let's get started. This first meal is a chicken lasagna. I'm starting off with 9 lasagna noodles, and I'm going to place them in my large pot of salted boiling water. And I'm just placing them in, and as they start to soften, then I'll start to push them down into that water until they're submerged, and then just cook them according to your package directions, but only halfway through for that. So if your package says 10 minutes, only cook them for 5 minutes. And this is because your noodles will continue to cook while in the oven. Next, I'm going to take about 1.5 pounds of boneless, skinless chicken breasts, and I'm filleting them down the middle to make it easier to get them into smaller pieces, because you want these pieces to be very small, like 1/2 inch or smaller. So nice little, just tiny bites of chicken. And I actually forgot to hit record on the beginning of the cooking of the chicken. So I went ahead and took a large skillet, and I went ahead and heated 1 tablespoon of olive oil in there. And once it was heated, I just placed the chicken in there, and I seasoned it with a teaspoon of dried oregano, a teaspoon of dried basil, as well as 1/2 teaspoon each of salt and pepper. And you're going to cook that over medium-high heat for 4 to 5 minutes, and they'll cook quickly because they're small pieces. Now I'm going to go ahead and make the filling. And to my bowl, I'm going to go ahead and add in about 12 ounces of whole milk ricotta cheese, 1 egg, and 2 ounces of grated Parmesan cheese. Then I just gave that all a good stir to break up that egg and get it very incorporated with the ricotta. And then you're just going to go ahead and add in your cooked chicken pieces and give that all a good stir to combine the chicken with the ricotta mixture. And I'm just being careful here not to get too much of that excess liquid, because I don't want it to be very runny. Now I'm just adding 1 tablespoon of butter to the pan that I cooked the chicken in, and I'm going to go ahead and add in 8 ounces of mushrooms, and I'm just using baby Bella mushrooms here, and I seasoned those with a teaspoon of oregano. And I'm going to go ahead and let those cook over some medium-high heat, stirring occasionally for about 5 minutes. And they were looking a little dry to me, so I drizzled just a little bit of olive oil over those as well. While the mushrooms cook, I'm going to get started on my cheese sauce. So I'm just taking a medium-sized saucepan, and I'm going to melt a tablespoon of butter in there. And once that's melted, I'm going to add in a tablespoon of flour and just whisk that around until your flour thickens. And I'm doing this over medium heat. And then you're going to go ahead and pour in your milk, and I'm adding 2.5 cups of milk here, and I'm using 2% milk. You want something at least 2%. And then whisk that around and let that simmer for just a moment. And then once the milk starts to simmer, you're going to add in 4 ounces of grated Parmesan cheese and 8 ounces of mozzarella cheese. And I try to add them in small quantities so that it can melt better. I was hoping to make this a nice smooth cheese, and it actually wasn't for me, and I don't know if it's because I was using packaged Parmesan because I didn't have fresh on hand. And now to my baking dish, and I'm just using a 9x13 baking dish, and I've laid 3 of those noodles down on the bottom, and I did place a little bit of cooking spray there as well. And now I'm going to place 1/3 of my ricotta mixture and 1/3 of that cheese sauce on top of those noodles, and that cheese sauce will make it easier for you to spread out the ricotta, which has the chicken in it. So go ahead and just do that, and then you're going to go ahead and add in 1/2 of your mushrooms on top of that. And I'm just kind of like trying to push them around. They didn't get spread out very easily, obviously, because they stick to this cheese sauce. So I'm just doing my best here to kind of get them a little bit evenly spread. And then you're going to start another layer of noodles and repeat the same steps. And now with the last layer, just gonna go ahead and place the last of your noodles and top that with your remaining ricotta mixture and cheese sauce. And then you're gonna go ahead and top that with your 4 ounces of shredded mozzarella cheese. And you're gonna go ahead and bake that at 350 degrees for about 35 to 40 minutes. And that's what it looks like out of the oven. And there is that plate. It's very delicious. I just served a side salad with that. This next meal is chorizo and potato breakfast burritos. For this, I'm just cutting my potatoes to get them ready. I'm using about 6 medium to large russet potatoes, and I decided to give my little vegetable chopper a try. I've never actually tried it for this purpose. I make it for like pico or something like that. So I'm just checking to see if those sizes come out very well, and they're actually perfect to me. They're pretty good sized cubes with this size blade, and so I'm just gonna go ahead and do that to all of my potatoes. And of course, you can just as easily dice those up into some small size cubes. I like small potatoes because I think that they cook up easier when frying. They cook quicker and they crisp up nice. So I just went ahead and heated some canola oil in the bottom of my large skillet. I didn't really have a measurement. I just kind of poured what I thought looked good, enough to fry all the potatoes. And so now I'm just place all those potatoes in there, and I'm seasoning them with just a little bit of salt and pepper and a little bit of that Tony Chachere's seasoning. Not a lot, just a little bit. And then I'm going to go ahead and place my lid on those, and I'm cooking them for about 20 minutes. With my lid on most of the time, except for when I'm like gonna flip them around. As you can see here, I like to flip them a few times to make sure that they get nice and crispy on all sides. And then once those are done, about 20 minutes later, this is over medium-high heat as well, then just go ahead and remove those potatoes from your pan and oil. And I'm just trying to get as much of the oil like left behind in the pan as possible. You can line your bowl with some paper towels to also soak up that excess oil. Now I've taken this soy chorizo from Aldi, and I'm gonna go ahead and place that into my same skillet. I did remove that excess oil from, and then just go ahead and give that a good break it all up, and then just let that cook up according to your package directions. I would have preferred regular pork chorizo for this meal, but I did have this soy chorizo that had to get used up, so I just decided we were having breakfast this night. That's why we were having breakfast, because I didn't want it to go bad. And then once that's cooked, you're gonna go ahead and add in your potatoes to that, and I'm just mixing that all up. And I'm also deciding to add some eggs as well, so I'm whisking up about 6 eggs there, and I just move the potatoes to the side and then place the eggs in that same pan to cook up. And as they set a bit, I just go ahead and stir that to get the cooked part off the bottom, and let them continue to cook until they're almost all the way done, and then I go ahead and stir that in with the potatoes. Now I'm not a huge fan of the eggs with this. I do prefer I like potatoes a lot, so I do prefer that the most, but I don't mind the eggs. I just don't want a lot of it, so that's why I only added 6 eggs. If you would like this with more egg, go ahead and do that. So now I'm just taking my pan and heating up my tortillas. You can heat up your tortillas however you'd like. And then I like cheese on my breakfast burritos, so I'm placing some of this Mexican style cheese onto each tortilla, and then just go ahead and place however much of your mixture as you want on there. And then I also go ahead and place a little hot sauce. You can add whatever kind of salsas. This is good with salsa verde, sour cream. Add whatever toppings you like, but I'm using that Valentina one because I really like that one a lot. And that is dinner for tonight. Super easy, really filling and delicious at the same time. But yeah, breakfast for dinner, one of my favorites. This last meal is tilapia tostadas with a lime crema. First, we'll go ahead and make the coating for the tilapia. To do that, I'm mixing 1/4 cup of flour, a 1/2 teaspoon each of salt and pepper, I believe a 1/4 teaspoon, maybe even 1/2 teaspoon of garlic powder, and then I added in a teaspoon of that Tony Chachere's like Creole style seasoning, And I'm just gonna go ahead and mix that up. And then I decided I would like a little more like color to it, and I also like paprika, so I'm just gonna sprinkle some of that in there. No exact measurements, I'm just doing it to color, maybe about no more than a teaspoon though. And then just go ahead and mix that all together. Next I'm gonna make the crema, and I'm adding a 1/3 cup of sour cream to my little blender here, and it's just a little small hand blender. And I'm gonna go ahead and add in 1/3 cup of sour cream, as well as a 1 bunch of cilantro, taking out as many of the stems there as I could. And then I'm taking half of a jalapeno, and I'm gonna go take the seeds out of that and then just place that in there as well. And the juice from half of a lime. And then just go ahead and blend that all up. And I know you don't exactly have the best view here while that's blending up, sorry about that, but I will show you what it looks like in the end. Next I'm going to be baking up some tostada shells, but you can easily use an already made packaged kind. So I'm just taking some tortillas and basting some oil on each side. Then I'm going to bake those at 350 degrees for 3 to 5 minutes on each side. So flip halfway through. And now I'm taking my tilapia fillets. You're going to use about 4. I have 5 here because some of them were kind of small. And you're just going to go ahead and coat those with that mixture you made earlier. Just make sure to get some pressed onto each side. To my cast iron skillet, I went ahead and added some oil, just canola oil. You can also use butter. And I have this over a medium heat, and I'm going to go ahead and just fry up those fillets on there. And I cooked those for about 4 to 5 minutes per side. You can also use a non-stick skillet. Mine was already being used for some rice I made, so I just used my cast iron here. And after about 5 to 6 minutes, I just went ahead and took a spatula and flipped those over to cook another 5 to 6 minutes on the other side. And I didn't have a lot of space to work with here, so this was a little bit of a mission for me. But it all worked out in the end, and this was delicious. And to go on top of the tostadas, I'm just grating up a carrot here, and you can grate up as much as you would like. And then I'm just going and taking some already pre-bagged red cabbage, and just gonna go ahead and use that as well. And there they are assembled. I made those with some cilantro lime rice, and I didn't show that, but I'll link another video where I make that right now. And thanks so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this week's What's for Dinner. Don't forget to hit that subscribe button, and so you don't miss out on any future What's for Dinner videos. And I hope you all have an amazing week.